Welcome to Lifespring HymnStories, the podcast that tells you the stories behind some of the church's greatest hymns. My name is Steve Webb, and I'm your host. Thanks for joining me today. This is episode number 60, in case you're keeping count. The hymn story I'm going to share with you today is that of Jesus, Lover of My Soul. I think you'll like it, and the version of the song I'm going to play for you. It's really good. Lifespring Hymn Stories is brought to you in part by my book, Webb's Easy Bible Names Pronunciation Guide. Since you're listening to this show, you're probably also a student of the Bible. Let me ask you a question. As you're reading the Bible, when you come across one of those long, difficult names, do you sort of wince just a little? Do you make a stab at saying the word but don't know if you said it right? Do you feel self-conscious about reading out loud in a public setting because you don't want to embarrass yourself by pronouncing a name wrong? Listen, it doesn't have to be that way. My book will show you how to say any Bible name with confidence, really. I've broken down every name of the Bible in such a way that it really is easy to say them. Even the longest name in the Bible, which looks scary but is easy to say. What is that name? It's Meir Shalal Hashbaz. See, it's easy. Tell you what, go to easybiblenamesguide.com and take a look. If you're still not sure, I want to give you a free chapter, all the names that begin with the letter A. Take a look. The details on how to get that free chapter are there at easybiblenamesguide.com. You'll see how easy it really is to pronounce any name of the Bible. And then when you decide to buy either the PDF version or the MP3 version, where you can actually hear me say any Bible name you're interested in, when you decide to buy, since you're a Hymn Stories listener, I want to give you 25% off. Just use promo code HYMNS, HYMNS, when you check out. Today's hymn is Jesus, Lover of My Soul. The lyrics are written by Charles Wesley, and the music is by Simeon B. Walsh. Many stories have risen around the writing of Jesus, Lover of My Soul, but they all appear to be fictional. We don't know the exact occasion for this composition, but it was written shortly after Charles Wesley's conversion, and its words seem to anticipate the huge crowds, lawless mobs, midnight escapes, traveling dangers, and flea-infested beds he would encounter in coming years. Wesley's life, in brief, can be summed up as follows. As the Methodist movement spread through England, Charles traveled horseback from place to place, an itinerant, homeless evangelist. His fiery preaching incited revival in some people and outrage in others. In the midst of all this, his dear mother Susanna died on July 23, 1742. Her last words were, "Children, as soon as I am released, sing a psalm of praise to God." Later, preaching in Wales, Charles met Sally Gwynn, a beautiful girl half his age. A courtship followed, and Charles wanted to propose, but he was virtually penniless with no way of supporting a wife. That's when he decided to publish his book, Hymns and Sacred Poems, as well as his journals and sermons, hoping the royalties would provide an income. Charles and Sally were married on April 8, 1749, Charles noting, "Not a cloud was to be seen from morning till night. I rose at 4, spent 3 hours and a half in prayer or singing with my brother. At 8, I led my Sally to church. It was a most solemn season of love." They left immediately on a preaching tour, and Charles continued his itinerant ministry until 1756, when, at age 49, exhausted, he and Sally settled down. Charles busied himself preaching, visiting, counseling, fretting about his 3 unsaved children, trying to keep Methodism within the Church of England, and giving unsolicited advice to his brother John. All the while, he worked tirelessly on his hymns and poems. By early 1788, Charles was bedfast, not from sickness, but from a lifetime of fatigue. By March, too weak to write, he dictated his last hymn to Sally. It went, "In age and feebleness extreme, who shall a sinful worm redeem? Jesus, my only hope thou art, strength of my failing flesh and heart. Oh, could I catch a smile from thee, and drop into eternity."
Jesus, lover of grace with thee is found, grace to cover all my sin. Let the healing streams abound, make and keep me pure with thee. Thou of life, the fountain art, freely let me take of thee. Spring thou up within my heart, rise to all eternity.
Wasn't that beautiful? That was the Living Stones Quartet, and they're from India. I'll have links to their YouTube video, their Facebook page, and places to buy their music on the show notes page at hymnstories.lifespringmedia.com. And as always, I want to thank Pastor Robert J. Morgan for giving his permission to use his books, Then Sings My Soul, Volumes 1 and 2. Check out his books wherever books are sold. If there's a hymn you'd like to know the backstory of, drop me a line at steve@lifespringmedia.com. I'll do my best to find the story and a version of the hymn that I can play on the show. In the meantime, how about going over to the Apple Podcast app and write a review? Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast and be aware that Lifespring Hymn Stories is just one of 9 shows available at lifespringmedia.com. If you'd like to know more, head on over, lifespringmedia.com. Thanks so much for listening today. Next week, we'll look at the story behind the hymn, How Firm a Foundation by John Ribbon. Until then, may God bless you richly. I'm Steve Webb. Bye.